FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
But what's it like moderating a vice presidential debate?
Well, the best part both times was when Queen Latifah played me on Saturday Night Live.
There's a number of those questions, too.
I'll just get to the punch. That's what you really want to know.
Yeah.
It really was. It was fun. It happened 4 years ago, too. She played me, and people didn't notice as much because 4 years ago it was Dick Cheney and John Edwards. I mean, come on. This time, there was so much attention paid to this because of Sarah Palin's presence on the ticket that that the Queen Latifah parody for me was I was just a relief it wasn't Kenan Thompson to be played by a man in drag. Not good. But seriously, it's really the hardest thing I've ever done. There's something about preparing for a presidential or vice presidential debate, which is a lonely experience. The first time I was picked to do a debate, I went to my boss, Jim Lehrer, and said, "So you've done 85 of these. What's your best advice?" And he said, "My advice is keep it all to yourself. Tell no one what you're doing, because there are a whole lot of people whose main jobs in life is to find out what it is you're going to ask and try to beat you to the punch." So I did, but then I was able to come up with hundreds of questions, and then hundreds of rephrasings of the questions, and then hundreds of ways to order it, to put it in order, and then to think about 90 seconds, 30-second rebuttal. Oh, I don't do math. So by the end of the first time I did it, and I thought, okay, I was really nervous 4 years ago before I walked out. And then when I walked out on stage and saw the Vice President, Cheney, and Senator Edwards walk out, I realized an important thing, which is I had the questions. And no matter how much they rehearsed and tried to anticipate, I knew. So my nerves went away. I calmed right down to the point that when I asked them about the soaring incidence of black women and AIDS and HIV, they were so nervous because they had all been prepped to think I was going to ask about AIDS in Africa, not domestic AIDS, that they didn't answer the question. Now, the beauty of that is that people at home got that they didn't answer the question. I didn't have to chase them around the desk and say, "You, sir, have not answered the question." I just had to lay it out there. And I learned from that experience and the reaction I got that people are pretty darn smart, and they're listening very closely. And it didn't take me to say, "You didn't answer the question." People knew it, and they decided what that meant. So flash forward to 4 years later, and everybody is watching this Palin debate. Because, here, you notice I called the Palin debate? I got hundreds of questions, suggested questions about what I should ask Sarah Palin. I don't think I got one question saying, "You should ask Joe Biden this."
Wow.
And I had to keep reminding people, it's a debate, people. There's somebody else on the stage. And it was important for me to say that because I wanted people to remember that this was a debate and not an interrogation. And how you gauge what you learned from this debate was going to be, my goal was to present to you who these candidates were so you could then choose which one suited you best. My job was not to say, "Who the hell do you think you are, Sarah Palin?" which is what so many writers, viewers, whatever, wanted me to do. Not what I was there to do. I also had to then put on my blinders the pre-debate controversy because that was a huge distraction. I'm proud to say I didn't change a single question as a result of that. I did exactly what I came to do. And it was interesting when the Republican nominee decided that she didn't want to answer my questions. I had a moment when she said, "I don't care what the moderator thinks," or whatever she said. I had a moment where I thought, should I say, "Really?" And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to do what I did 4 years ago and trust that the viewers at home will get that she has just transmitted her intention not to abide by the rules that she agreed to. I don't have to beat her up about it. My name is not Geraldo. She is perfectly capable of making her point. I'm perfectly capable of doing my job, and that's the way it worked out for me.